morning. It is a new day, a colder day. It is quite chilly out, and the gym is a bit colder and it's going to take a little bit longer to heat up as well. So, ain't nothing but to do it, and we've got a push day ahead of us. So we're going to be starting out with some machine shoulder presses here on the levers, and from there, taking it out to some cables and some dumbbell exercises. So we're going to get right into it. Got a good workout ahead of us planned. I did abs yesterday, and I got some ab wheel rollouts here at the end of my workout, which are going to be tough. I can already tell. But it's going to be a good one. Let's get after it. Let's get warmed up. Once we start moving a little bit more, it's going to make it nice and warm in this gym too. So I'll see you in just a moment. All right, took a little bit longer to get the gym warmed up, but now it's nice and a little warm. We're about to get ready on our first work sets here in just a set or two after a couple more warm-up sets here. All right. Yeah. Oh, I enjoy the shoulder presses here on the lever arms. They are certainly one of the first exercises that I set up when I got the lever arms, just because of how easy it is to set them up. I mean, you just got to get the bench in the right spot and then figure out where the arms need to be as far as a height setting. It's really that simple. With the bench pressing and leg pressing, there's a lot of configuration that has to go into that. A lot of setup, a lot of trial and error, really. With these, there was a small amount, but it probably took less than 10 minutes total the first time. And then after that, I just mark them here on the safeties with they're dry erase stickers, or chalkboard stickers, one of the two. And then you got future-proof setups that are consistent. Okay, so we got one more set here, and we're going to do a bit of a drop set. So we're going to lower the weight 20 or 30% after this next set. I'm going to get that set up real quick so I can make those plate changes very quickly, or as quick as possible. So what we did was we had two 25s and a 5 on here for about a total of 110 pounds between the two arms. And I swapped out the 25 for two more 10s and a 5, and I've layered them 10-5, 10-5 to make it easy to flip them off for the drop set. I'll probably take off just a 10 and a 5 for the drop set, but we'll see how we feel. Let's crank it out. Well, that was nice. All right, let's get a 10 and a 5 off. Crank out a few more reps. Oh. Good drop set. It's tough when you're doing them on the arms, and I've got the weight post vertical. I've just been leaving them that way because it's been working out just fine. It's not perfect from a storage standpoint. You can't put them all the way up and out of the way. I can still get them out of the way, but not all the way up. And I've been meaning to buy some aftermarket bolts that have a flat head on them, so like an integrated washer basically. And then it'll be easier to quickly swap these out and move them around, at least a little bit quicker. But that is the one problem that having the weight pegs on the front here poses. The weight is vertical, so getting it off, you've got to beat gravity with it, which isn't always the most fun thing in the world, or easy for that matter. So it is what it is. Not the end of the world. Certainly just a very minor grievance in the grand scheme of things. All right, let's get over to some cable lat raises. You know, I often get people commenting on how they wish they had the drive that I have to go to the gym, the passion, the will, and the ability to just force myself to go most days. I think what most people don't realize is how big of a battle it actually is to get out here every day, and this is a 30-second walk from my back door at most. But it's still a fight. It's still a battle to actually get out here and do the work. It's even more of a battle not to just go through the motions. Having you here has actually been a huge benefit to holding me accountable to that, though. Having this live studio audience watching, if you're watching. I don't know who's watching, but there just isn't some secret magic pill that gets you out here every single day. It's just determination and stubbornness, really, at its core. It is a fight to get out here most days. It really is. And I don't want to give people the impression that it's easier for me just because I love to do this. And I do. I absolutely love lifting. But it's still a tough choice that I have to make every day to get out here. To some degree, it's not a choice. I have to get out here. But I have the choice on whether or not to execute on that. And there are days where I'd rather not. I'd rather, grab one of the cats and sit on the couch under a warm, cozy blanket and play some video games or read a book. That would have been nice this morning. I know in the back of my mind that if I don't go out there, my day is going to be rocky. It's going to be harder. It's going to be more difficult for me overall. It's because I've got to get in that right mental space. And if I don't get that workout in, I don't believe I get to that right mental space. Get my mind right. But I'll feel better about myself, physically and mentally. I'll feel more fulfilled. Because really, working out first thing in the morning is usually the hardest thing I do every day. Everything else comes a little bit more natural after you get a really tough workout in. Most things. Oh, that was a good set. All right, we're hanging a band here for some assists, should we need it. We're gonna take these nice and slow and controlled, no extra weight on at the moment. I am gonna throw some weight on. I lied. So we're only gonna throw 25 on, not a ton of weight. Because I do still really want to focus on the form overall here. But I remember last week, these were not feeling hard enough to really warrant the band. So we'll see what happens now. I put a 25 on my dip belt. I've got the band here to basically negate that and a little bit more, should we get to that point. But let's crack after it. Yeah, that's just feeling really good. That was definitely better than it was last week, but I'm glad I'm putting the weight on there. There are a lot of ways to overcomplicate a gym program with some crazy exercises and crazy running arounds between different stations or setups or whatever it might be. And in the home gym, I try to optimize it as much as possible. Yesterday's push day was a great example of a workout that was probably a little too complex for the home gym between the setups and how long it takes to actually put it together and take it back down and move on to the next exercise. But it was a weekend. I was enjoying my time with that one. But there's something to be said about these very simple exercises and just going back to them. This dip station was one of the first things I bought with the rack. I think I might have bought it with the rack actually, just to have as another way to do some tricep work, namely tricep work. And it's been a great investment. Simple one, simple machine, doesn't require a lot of setup. Again, it's got a sticker on there. It tells me where to place it exactly, so I don't even have to worry about that. I store it up above when I'm not using it, out of the way. It's a very, very simple attachment that I think really goes a long way. I'm sure there's some other stuff you could do with it. I've really only ever done dips with it, though. I only did 8 on the last one. I realized after I want to go for more than that, so we'll go for 10 this time. Nice, slow, controlled. Well, that's what happens sometimes. Started the rep, and I just lost it. Lost the tightness there. Not sure why, but it happens sometimes. It happens. So we've got the. Some of you have heard me talk about it already, either here or on the podcast. But I am starting to cut the winter cut, which is a really dumb idea. But we're starting it here very soon, later this week. And you might be wondering, well, when's later this week? What day are you starting it on, BJ? Well, December 1st is a Thursday or a Friday, one of the two. What is today even? 27th? Yeah, so it's like Thursday or Friday. Which means I had planned to start beginning of December, and that means I could start it on the weekend, but that sounds like a terrible idea. So I believe we'll be starting it a week from today. Next Monday, getting this cut started. When I run my diet weeks, I like to go Monday through Sunday. Gives that weekend to have a bit of a break if we need it. And it's, I think, more enjoyable to have those breaks on the weekends, so I can enjoy it with friends, essentially. And I don't take them very often, but your body does need a diet break at maintenance, I believe, every once in a while, so that you don't go into this starvation mode where your body's trying to conserve everything possible and makes it more difficult to cut, period. But we're gonna start, we've started weighing ourselves every other day at this point, just to get an idea of where we're at. More on that to come here. We'll probably do a comprehensive video on all that stuff before we actually start the cut. But right now, we've got one more set of dips in front of us, so let's crack after that. All right. All right. Got some fairly heavy dumbbell flies here that we're gonna get after. Smash through these and then hit our triceps. All right, good set. Good set. Nice, good contraction there. That's fantastic. So we've got the cut starting soon. We're thinking more about our meals, what we're making for the week to keep it interesting, fun, and vibrant. Not just chicken and rice and veggies three times a day. I like to cook, so we'll make some good protein-rich meals. Work around those. especially for dinner. You know, get a good meal cooked for dinner. Lunch. Because I work from home, I can kind of make whatever I need in that moment. So I'll use lunch as my kind of catch up, and lunch and my middle of the day meals, I should say, to get as much protein as possible. But with my lunches, I'll probably be cooking chicken breasts with rice, nice and simple. But we've got less than a week now to start this thing. I was really considering starting it later this week, but middle of the week, especially end of the week, certainly not the best time to start a cut with the weekend approaching. It's the holidays. It's going to be hard enough as it is, but we got through Thanksgiving. That's my favorite holiday. All the others, you know, we'll make do as best we can. We're going to have some days where we have some minor setbacks, I'm sure, but we'll be able to control ourselves. The hardest part is just not drinking, though. You know, socially drinking, it's fun, it's great, but we won't be able to do that. And we'll be all right. We've done it before numerous times. But the winter cut, do not recommend. But we've got a trip to Cancun at the end of February, and we gotta look good, right? All right, this is the last set of these. We're gonna be doing some long length partials. Thanks, Jeff Nippard, for getting those stuck in my head. So we'll see how they feel. Oh. Oh. It's always interesting going into a cut, my mental state. And I think these vlogs will be a good way to kind of track that. You know, now I've been doing this for so long, I know the ups and downs that are going to come, the challenges that are going to come, the barriers, all the stuff that's going to come over the next almost 3 months. You know, I'm planning a break at some point in the cut for a week or two. Not even a break, but just kind of like a plateauing, a pausing, if you will. We're not going to go crazy on breaking the cut, but we're not going to be focused on being in a calorie deficit for a period of time, because 3 months is a long period of time for a cut. But it's still a lot of work. It's you know, again, I think sometimes people think it just comes so easy for me or others like me, and it's still not. It's a struggle, just like it is for anybody else who might who might elect to do this, want to do this, have to do this. It's a daily struggle, but it's a choice. And we all have choices that we have to make, and some that we want to make. But more often than not, the hard ones are the ones we're not really looking forward to making. I've had some of those recently. I've even delayed on maybe giving an answer or making a decision, or maybe I've made the decision, but I don't want to communicate that I've made the decision. It can get tough to shoot that shot and just let it be known, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, why. But generally, I like to think we make decisions that are good for ourselves. At least I do. And there's a good amount of thought behind them. And they're not just made haphazardly or on a whim or just for the hell of it. Ooh, those are tough. Oh, yeah. But you know, it's not always bad when we make these decisions. It's scary. But I've learned that sometimes it's the scariest decisions that you have to make that are the best ones for you. That if you just sit on never making a decision for yourself, you're going to be a whole hell of a lot worse than you would be if you just made that decision, dealt with the anxiety that comes with it for the small moment of time that it does, and then move on. Because it is truly, usually, those anxiety-inducing decisions that are going to be the best for us in the long run. We're just afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of the change, the unknown, the backlash that others might have in a decision that perhaps negatively impacts them or doesn't give them what they want in that moment. But you, rather, are taking care of yourself, your family, your best interests. That's what's most important. Why are we always so damn afraid to make decisions that benefit us the most? At the expense of no one else, too, usually. But just like the gym, if we do the reps, if we practice, if we do the reps and the practice is just pushing ourselves to make those decisions sometimes, it gets easier every rep we do. Every set in the future will get gradually easier to do that amount of weight, to do that lift. We've just got to think about the bigger picture and not just be so stuck in a very narrow field of view. And we'll realize that that narrow field of view is really only encompassing a very small portion of the picture. There's so much more for us as individuals. We've just got to be willing to progressively take the steps, the reps, to make the decisions, to finish the sets that will ultimately be greater for us in the long run, be greater for the people around us, because it's going to allow us to spread the betterment that we've experienced, the things we've learned, the knowledge we've gained, the insight, the wisdom. If we can do that, if we can share the wealth a little bit for the betterment of everybody around us, it gets easier to make those decisions, because you'll realize the positive impact they're having on you, and perhaps as a byproduct on everybody around you as well when you're doing better. Okay, last set here. Let's do it. All right, that's it for today. A good push day. This program, I've mentioned this before, there's not a lot of barbell movements, bench pressing and stuff, and I'm missing that. So I might need to find a way to work those in. The ab wheel I've been loving, and it's also just like a, it's like an accessory movement for your arms too. It's tough work, and not easy on really any part of the body that's having to hold on to that ab wheel. So program's going really well so far. I'm actually really enjoying getting back to pure bodybuilding movements. Focus here. I'm not just focusing on moving the heaviest weight possible. We're certainly going to go back to that at some point here, but right now the pure bodybuilding focus, the contractions, the time under tension, the volume, that stuff's great. So really glad we're enjoying that, and it's working out the way I hoped it would. Again, we're starting to cut later this week. Hopefully get a video on that, kind of covering that and the goal of that here very soon. We've got some lighting upgrades for the gym. There's been a box that you may have seen sitting in the background now for a little while. The last couple of days here, just haven't been able to get them up. I got to mark out where I want them first, but get the lights up in here so that everything's a little bit more uniformly even, and we don't have these glaring bright LEDs. These things are great. Not for film though, not for when you're filming. So Black Friday deal came in handy. Gonna get those lights hung, but for now, happy Monday. Thanks for being here. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one.